The gospel for this evening is from the Gospel of Mark, the 14th chapter. On the first day of unleavened bread, when the Passover lamb is sacrificed, his disciples said to him, "Where do you want us to go and make the preparations for you to eat the Passover?" So he sent two of his disciples, saying to them, "Go into the city, and a man carrying a jar of water will meet you. Follow him, and wherever he enters, say to the owner of the house, 'The teacher asks, where is my guest room where I may eat the Passover with my disciples?' He will show you a large room upstairs, furnished and ready. Make preparations for us there." So the disciples set out and went to the city and found everything as he had told them, and they prepared the Passover meal. When it was evening, he came with the 12. And when they had taken their places and were eating, Jesus said, "Truly I tell you, one of you will betray me, one who is eating with me." They began to be distressed and to say to him one after another, "Surely not I." He said to them, "It is one of the 12, one who is dipping bread into the bowl with me. For the Son of Man goes as it is written of him. But woe to that one by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It would have been better for that one not to have been born." While they were eating, he took a loaf of bread, and after blessing it, he broke it and gave it to them and said, "Take, this is my body." Then he took a cup, and after giving thanks, he gave it to them, and all of them drank from it, and he said to them, "This is my blood of the covenant, which is poured out for many. Truly I tell you, I will never again drink of the fruit of the vine until that day when I drink it new in the kingdom of heaven, in the kingdom of God." When they had sung the hymn, they went out to the Mount of Olives. The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Christ. Please be seated. The first day of Passover has finally arrived in the city of Jerusalem. It has been a week of extreme emotions. Nearly 1 week ago, an itinerant Galilean rabbi entered the city on a donkey that his disciples had borrowed from our friends Elias and Abigail. His reputation for healing the sick and lame, and restoring sight to the blind, and even raising the dead, had the crowds greeting him with hosannas as they tossed palm branches and their cloaks on the ground before him. But no sooner had he entered the city in triumph than the trouble began. He clashed with the money changers in the temple, causing chaos and havoc for those who had gathered to exchange their money for temple money so that they would be able to buy sacrificial animals to present to the chief priests for the Passover. And as if that was not enough, he insisted on giving answers that were contrary to Jewish law when he was questioned by the Pharisees and the Sadducees. As Abigail and Elias followed him all week and listened to his teaching and his preaching in the temple, they noticed a man seeming to conspire with the chief priests outside their residence. Elias thought he recognized this man as a follower of Jesus and wondered what in the world he was doing with the chief priests. And Abigail, well, she wondered aloud if this apparent follower of Jesus could be planning to betray him. This evening, Elias is urging Abigail to hurry so they can join the others for Seder because sundown is very near.
"Abigail, hurry. They will not wait the Seder for us."
"I will be there when I'm ready. I am not concerned whether they start the meal without me or not."
I can barely believe what I am hearing. And this from the woman who never misses a single requirement of our Passover law.
How can I pay attention to any law when Jesus is right upstairs? Can you believe our good fortune? I would never have imagined that he would rent out this particular upper room from our friends, and that we'd be celebrating Passover right below him on the first floor. I tell you, Elias, we are destined to follow this man.
Abby, your passion for Jesus has even exceeded mine. An occurrence I would not have thought possible only a few days ago, but standing out here will not bring us any closer to Jesus. He's enjoying Passover with his family and friends. I beg you, come along so we can do the same.
Of course, Elias, you are right. There will be no more teaching tonight. I will have to wait until tomorrow to see him again, and the next day, and the next, and the day after that. There will be plenty of opportunities for us to learn at the Master's feet. I must not be rude to our hosts on his account.
I'm certain Jesus would not want that. He may present a challenge to those in power at the temple, but I have never seen him be rude or insensitive to anyone. Come along, hurry. They have probably already begun the Seder.
The Seder meal has come to an end. As Abigail and Elias are leaving their friend's home to head back to their lodging, they overhear a conversation between three of Jesus' followers, Peter, James, and John. They're leaving the upper room and complaining that Jesus wants to go to a nearby garden to pray before heading off to rest for the night.
Why now? And why us?
Why complain? If he wants to get away for prayer, who are we to say no? And if he wants us to go along and stay with him, then we go along.
I don't really mind going with him to Gethsemane. I'm just curious why it has to be right now. It is Passover, after all. We've had a big meal, and we should be settling in for some good conversation and fellowship like we have always done on Passover. And then settle down for a good night's sleep.
I don't know about you, but I've had about as much conversation as I care to have tonight. That was the oddest discussion we've ever had.
I agree. And we've certainly had some pretty odd conversations over the last 3 years. If you ask me, I think Jesus is in a very dark mood lately.
Why do you say that, Peter?
Where have you been, John? He keeps talking about death. I tried to warn him about upsetting everyone with that kind of talk, and he nearly bit off my head. Then tonight he starts off our Seder by washing everyone's feet. What was that all about? Then he goads us into an argument about who's going to betray him. I got so mad I was ready to punch Thomas in the head.
Tell the truth, Peter. You're always ready to punch someone in the head. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it wasn't a very strange evening. Not a typical Passover Seder, that's for sure. And all that talk about this is my body, this is my blood, very creepy. I couldn't figure out what in the world that was all about. And then, how about Judas? What was with him, bolting right after dinner? I wouldn't be surprised if he never came back. I know they've had their differences, but that was really harsh.
Judas has been trying to push Jesus into an armed rebellion almost since the very first day he joined us. I swear he doesn't listen. Jesus is never going to lead a revolt against Rome, and he is certainly not going to buddy up with the leaders of the temple.
And what about you, Peter?
Yeah, Peter. Tonight he singled you out as the one who would deny him.
He did not single me out. He said that all of us were going to run like scared sheep. I was the only one who stood up and declared my allegiance.
How quickly you forget, Peter. We all declared our allegiance. You were the one he said would deny him 3 times.
Not only that, he said it would be tonight, before the rooster crows.
Well, that just goes to show you that he was talking out of his head. We're going for a little prayer session, then it's back to our rooms and to bed. Thankfully, the night is almost over.
We've fallen behind. He's already at the garden. We better hurry.
I hope this doesn't take too long. I'm ready to sleep right now.
as Jesus and his disciples enter the garden. Let us sing hymn number 348 in the Red Book, 348, and let us sing it 3 times. At last, Abigail and Elias are ready to leave their friends home, having completed their Seder. They had stayed to visit and catch up with them, as was the custom. Abigail comes out first by herself. She looks up toward the room where Jesus and his disciples shared their Passover, and she notices that the upper room is dark. Jesus and his disciples had not stayed to linger, but rather left as soon as the meal was over. She wonders aloud.
The room upstairs is dark. Why do you think they left so quickly? Why didn't they stay to visit and offer thanks to their hosts for holding the Seder for them? I think I heard some commotion a while ago, and I noticed that one of his men left all by himself. As a matter of fact, now that I think of it, it looked like the same man Elias and I saw coming out of the chief priest's residence the other day. In fact, I'm certain of it. Oh, here you are, Elias. I have been out here trying to figure out what's going on tonight. I do wish you hadn't put those thoughts of betrayal in my head. Ever since you hinted at it, I've been looking around every corner for a conspiracy. That kind of thinking can make one very suspicious. No matter, Jesus is safe now.
Elias comes outside now and joins Abigail, but he hasn't heard everything she was saying.
What did you just say, Abigail? Did I hear you right? Did you just say that same man from the other day at the chief priest's house residence was out here all by himself again? I thought they had all left a while ago.
They have left, but I'm not sure when. The windows were dark when I came out. I was just standing here waiting for you and thinking about this remarkable week. I could never have imagined the changes this Passover week would bring to my life.
Abigail, it's not just the week that has changed your life. It is a man. It is the man. Jesus is the man who's changing a lot of lives.
I know. I was just thinking how glad I am that he is safe with his disciples.
What makes you so sure he's safe?
Think about it, Elias. Passover is nearly done. In a couple of days, he and his group will return to Galilee. The temple leaders will cool down, and it will all be over. This remarkable week will be a memory.
They can still move against him. I'm not so sure where he will be any cooling down.
They certainly wouldn't move against him tonight. That would be unthinkable. This may be the only time that he really is safe. Because all the crowds are in their homes or with friends for the celebration, the temple leaders are celebrating too, or at least they should be. I cannot believe that they would mount a nighttime attack against Jesus, not tonight of all nights.
I would not be so sure. You have said it yourself, that they are sneaky and underhanded.
Think about it, Elias. A nighttime arrest would mean a nighttime hearing before the temple leaders. Do you really think they would operate in the dark to bring Jesus down?
You seem to be assuming a lot of integrity on the part of these men, my dear.
I may be impressed with Jesus, and yes, he has changed my life, but I'm not ready to believe that my temple leaders are so corrupt as to try to bring Jesus down right in the middle of Passover.
You make a good point. Good argument.
I always do, Elias. I always do. Besides, the night is nearly over. Everyone will soon be in bed, and tomorrow will be a new day. You'll see.
I should never doubt you, Abigail. God had a plan, and I am sure God will work it all out. Let's get back to the inn and get some rest.